Hey, what's up, good people? It's Jay Ray, the co-host of Q Points, and I wanted to come to you because there are two really important ways that you can support our show. One is by subscribing to it wherever you listen to or watch your podcasts. Q Points is pretty much everywhere. The other thing that you can do is you can visit us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and on Podchaser, and you can leave us a star rating. Please rate us 5 stars because you know you love Q Points. And on Apple Podcasts and on Podchaser, you can actually leave us a written review. It's not required, but it really does help to spread the word about the show, and it helps people to discover it as they're looking for new podcasts to listen to. We're always appreciative of you supporting Q Points. We thank you so much for all that you've done for us so far, and enjoy the show.
Greetings and welcome back to another episode of Q Points, dropping the needle on Black music history. I am Sir Daniel.
And my name is Jay Ray, sometimes known by my government as Johnny Ray Cornegay III. What's happening, people?
Jay Ray, it's so good to be back in the place. Glad I made it here in one piece. I'm not going to say what happened, but
we're going to leave that off air.
That's completely off air, but yes, so glad to be back in that number, walking with you all, and here for another exciting episode of Q Points. How has your week been?
My week has been great, man. It has been a week full of good music. I've been very productive on some work stuff that I've really been wanting to get done. So that's been super dope. And yeah, just feeling really, really good. How about yourself? How's your week been?
So I've had an excellent week, but J. Ray, I did something that a lot of Black men struggle with, and we take a lot of time and thought into making these kinds of life changes for ourselves, because these are decisions that last us a lifetime and can deeply affect not just us, but the people around us and our relationships. So basically, guys, what I did this week was I tried a new barber.
And, that is a big deal for you.
That is a major deal. I tried a new barber, and for those of you that can see that are watching us, looks good, right? I am feeling that it was such a big anxiety, but now I feel relieved. I feel very secure in the decision that I made. My old barber, he's always going to be, because that's my friend.
Yes.
So we're always going to have a connection, but he's transitioning to other things and doing other things. So, our schedules don't necessarily jive. So I think every Black man should have a backup barber. And now I do. I have one that I'm very pleased with, and I'm pleased with the work. So definitely we'll be going back to him again. So
big
sigh of
deal.
relief.
So it looks like our brother Carlton is looking for a good barber in Georgia. So Sir Daniel might have you on that. Want to shout out the folks in the building. So we have P. Michael. We have, y'all are up in here early. You got P. Michael. We got Mark, who's checking in from Columbus, of all places. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Our Jackson brother checking in from Columbus. And then we have Trey. What's up, Trey? And it's so good to see everybody, and we're just happy that y'all are here with us.
Fantastic. So, Jerry, without further ado, what's on tonight's agenda?
Oh, we got a lot of stuff to cover tonight. So, of course, the way tonight is going to run, y'all, we have we got some fun topics we're going to talk about. Y'all know that Freaknik documentary is coming. We talked about it on However Comma, but there's been new developments since we had that conversation on Monday. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about Charlie Pride. There's a Charlie Pride update that we want to definitely share courtesy of our brother Big Mike. We're going to talk about Queen Latifah's All Hail the Queen. And then we're going to jump into this conversation about music by non-black folks that black folks love, which is going to be fun. So get yourselves ready because we want to know what songs y'all love too. That's going to be dope. And yeah, so it should be a fun night. So that's what's on the agenda. And we hope y'all hang out with us the entire show.
Awesome. What ways can people keep up with us here at Q Points? Because we're doing so many things.
Oh my God, yo. It is so much stuff, y'all. So of course, as we mentioned just a minute ago, if you become a Q Points insider, you can see the archives of this. I'm backed up on the archives, y'all. Insiders, I'm gonna get caught up on the archives so y'all can go in and watch however commas that you may have missed. But if you become a Q Points insider by visiting qpoints.com, you can click the subscribe button. It gives you full access to the Q Points archive, which we're going to say this every week. This is our 96th show. So there's so much Q Points content to take in, and you will have access to all of that by becoming an insider, as well as to all our other content that's on the back end of the website. But here's the deal. Y'all are here watching us or listening to us. It is absolutely free to subscribe. It don't cost you nothing. And if you want to do us a solid, share the fact that you are tuning into Q Points with your friends and family. Forward them the link. If they love music as much as you do, they should also be checking into Q Points. That's free. You can do that. But those are some key ways to support us, as well as you can shop in our store at store.qpoints.com. Get yourself some fresh gear. We're going to update some stuff for the summer. And yeah, that's another way to support us. So, yeah.
That's what's up. So, like J. Ray said, we are getting closer and closer to 100, show number 100. But before we even get to that, let's just get into it. So, like J. Ray said, we touched on this whole Freaknik situation on however comma. We shared some memories. I shared some memories because that was the year I graduated from high school, 1993. You do the math. It was definitely a time of freedom for us because we weren't beholden to social media. But there were video cameras around and people were documenting
the big joints too that's on the shoulder.
Yeah, that you had to hold on your shoulder. And Freaknik had a really good run here in the city of Atlanta until, you know, the powers that be ran it out. And so now allegedly Uncle Luke, Luther Campbell, and Jermaine Dupri have compiled interviews and footage to release a documentary that is supposedly coming out on Hulu. And everybody is on fire about this alleged documentary that doesn't even have a release date yet. People are warning their friends and families. And the weird thing is a lot of people are saying, I hope I don't see my parents. But it's like, were your parents really... I don't think your parents really were at Freaknik. I don't. There's a lot of young... I mean, these are young people that are talking about it, and they're interested. I think this is a brilliant campaign to get people up in arms about it and interested to see the documentary. But J-Ray, there are some things, some legal matters that are coming up about this documentary that we haven't even seen yet or haven't even got a trailer yet for.
Exactly. So here's the thing. This might be cap, as the young people say.
The young people say,
this might be cap, but allegedly there are already lawsuits forming around this documentary that people have not seen, that there's no release date for, that people don't know what's in it, right? It could literally be a bunch of performances. We have no idea what's in it. But yeah, there your media takeouts and all of these other blogs that are not known as being reliable are running with this idea that there are important and powerful people that are trying to stop this documentary from hitting the Hulu because they're gonna be in it. I don't believe this. Where I think, here's the thing for JD and for Luke is this is a lot of hype for something we have not yet seen, right? So it
Right.
now has to live up. The documentary has to live up to the folklore of Freaknik, which is a high bar to climb,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I don't believe that one that these lawsuits are happening because no one knows what's in this. And like I said, we said on However Comma, Hulu is not letting a documentary get on their billion-dollar platform without all the legal matters taken care of. Those releases will be signed, kids, or the faces are going to be blurred. Okay.
Absolutely blurred. Like I said, this is brilliant marketing for something that hasn't come out yet. So the attention and the anticipation is there. Now, what I do think the best thing that has come out of this is there's now a lot of discourse around around the rape culture,
Absolutely.
around I know there's a lot of fraternities that are shook right now because a lot of people are digging up their own old footage and posting them. A lot of documentaries, because MTV actually did a story on Freaknik once. BET had been down here several times, so there is footage from major networks already and some videos that already have people documenting incidents of women being
Mhm.
attacked, women being um, handled and fondled without permission. So,
Mhm.
you guys, this is way before the Me Too movement. This is way
Mhm.
before consent, all the things, all the trigger words that we have now. And so I think it is a very interesting conversation to be had now that's going to come back up. And yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see. So, we're keeping our eyes open and our ears open for more updates. And of course, we are going to share that with you here on Q Points.
Yes.
J Ray, you also mentioned a figure that we had spoken about in
Yep.
our Black Country Music series.
Yep.
One, Mr. Charlie Pride,
Mhm.
is like the black. Before I even get into the Charlie Pride thing, speaking of black people making country music, two things. So the War and the Treaty were on Jennifer Hudson's show
I know, and I
recently,
missed it. I have to check it out. I have to check it out.
which is major. I was
Yes.
very glad to see them on there and to see Tanya Blunt and her husband on there
Mhm.
doing the thing. And K Michelle just recently dropped her music video for her country song.
Okay. Cool.
So
Good for
I
K
don't know the
Michelle.
name of it. Good for K Michelle. Yeah, she definitely just dropped the video. So, black people in country music is still a thing. It's going to be a thing. But now Charlie Pride has recently received an honor, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So actually, our brother who was part of our country music series with us, Big Mike, shot us
Mm-hmm.
a text today and sent us an article from the Tennessean. And I'm gonna read the first paragraph. On April 12th, 2023, Kissin' Angel Good Morning vocalist Charlie Pride joined Little Jimmy Dickens, Loretta Lynn, and Bill Monroe as iconic country performers to be honored with life-size bronze statues outside of the Ryman Auditorium, which is country music's mother church, located between 4th Avenue and Representative John Lewis Way in Lower Broadway. So that's there in Nashville. And they have a picture of Mr. Pride's family next to this lovely bronze statue of Charlie Pride. And so one, want to thank Big Mike's for sending that over to us. And two, want to definitely honor, when we did our Charlie Pride show, we were just like, this man was a marvel doing so much amazing work. And so it's nice that the folks down in Tennessee are honoring the incredible work and legacy of Charlie Pride.
Absolutely. Nice to see you, B Rock. B Rock is in the building. from Virginia. But before we move on, we got to shout out Big Mike for something else
Yes.
because he made an announcement earlier this week that we are super proud of. A
Yo.
big congratulations and shout out to Big Mike because now he is part of the Black Love team.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
This is
he, as
exciting.
a producer,
An
correct? If I'm not
associate
mistaken.
podcast producer. He is joining the
Wow.
team. If y'all are not following Black Love and their
Mm.
podcast work, we are stands for everything that's happening over at Black Love, including their podcast network, which is headed by a one Crystal Hill. Shout out to Crystal. And yeah, Big Mike is joining the team over there as an associate podcast producer. And we want to just send you a congratulations, Big Mike, because you are dope. And we're really, really, really happy for you, bro.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so speaking of giving more people's their propers and making monuments of people's achievements, the album "All Hail the Queen" by Queen Latifah is being entered into the. Make sure I get this right, J. Ray. The album itself is being entered into the.
Is it the National Recording Registry? Is that it?
Registry.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's the Library of Congress National Recording Registry, as part of their National Recording Preservation Board.
Now, you've heard me talk about Queen Latifah ad nauseum, and I think you've heard us talk about All Hail the Queen in ad nauseum as well. That album, for a debut, the album came out in 1989. Queen Latifah was all of 18 years old when she released that album. And it is definitely a classic. It is definitely, as a debut album, one of the most solid releases that you could ever hear from a rap artist, much less a woman MC. And it gave us all kinds of genres. It gave us house.
Mm-hmm.
It gave us hip hop. It gave us a little reggae flavor.
Yep.
So, and it just introduced us to the mega talent that Queen Latifah is, and she hasn't looked back since. So I'm all for it. Dana Elaine Owens absolutely deserves this honor. So there were a lot of great other some albums that were also entered into this. Madonna, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I think so. You know what? There was a list of them, and we'll make sure that we include
we'll
list
post that
of
later.
Yeah, we'll definitely drop that. What is so dope about Latifah definitely being, of course, she's the first woman MC to get this honor. This record is one of those no skips. I have a mint in my mouth. It's no skips on this record.
Not one.
45 King ate his Wheaties when it was time to produce this record.
Absolutely.
You know, and it gave room to right. Yes, there's the hands. It gave room for so many other MCs. Like, because of this album, we did see the explosion of the entire Native Tongues crew. Even though the Jungle Brothers came before, it was really Latifah's record that kind of really kicked that door open for this other style coming out of Jersey and New York to kind of shine through. So this All Hail the Queen is a classic album. If you've never heard it, you need to play it.
We got Moni Love from that album. Of course, De La Soul is on that album. Stetsasonic, well, Daddy-O from Stetsasonic. KRS-One is on that album. So yeah, it's a solid release. And J-Ray, did you know that one of the early songs that Queen Latifah was on, I have to look this up because where it goes along with the topic of tonight, because one of the early remixes that Queen Latifah first appeared on was, let's see. You know what? Let me think about that and I'll find it. But so we're talking about songs by non-white people that the black community absolutely loves.
You mean non-black people that black folks love?
Did I say non-white people?
You did say non-white.
Okay, I'm in the opposite side tonight, guys. I'm in the upside down. But yes,
Oh, I
songs
wrote
by non
that's written on the agenda.
you. That's what it is. You got J Ray
I'm
got me
like,
out here looking crazy.
I do. I wrote that on our run of show, and I'm like, maybe I wrote that. It's non-black
You
people.
did. It's not. You did, but it's all good. That we absolutely love, and there was a term that was coined called blue-eyed soul
Yep.
back in the day. That was coined. I think you said that was coined to when.
In the 60s, so in the mid 60s, this term blue-eyed soul emerged. Now, keep in mind, the music industry had been appropriating black music since the very beginning. That's how we got into the
Mhm.
country music conversation, right? So
Right.
um in the 40s, when R&B kind of emerges as a thing, because it goes from race music to then like rhythm and blues,
Hmm.
you would have white folks, famously Pat Boone, who would who would take the songs that like a Little Richard was doing, or these other your Chuck Berrys, and redo these songs and make them palatable for white folks. But the difference was it wasn't no heart and soul in these songs. These songs was
Mm-mm.
the most vanilla mayonnaise versions of these songs, right?
Unseasoned.
Unseasoned. But what begins to, of course, happen in the late 50s and 60s, you know, there were white folks who had spent some time around black folks that you
Mhm.
would be like, oh, they putting a little stank on that. Like you get your Janis Joplins and these folks that begin to appear who are non-black people but are like, we get giving you a little something. You know what I'm saying? And blue-eyed soul emerges as a thing where it's like, okay, these are these white folks that is giving you a little some Joe Cocker shit like that. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
absolutely.
um but we get a lot of this as it comes. I won't say a lot, but we get a pretty good bit of this in the 70s. Oh,
Hmm.
but before we get into this, Sir Daniel, question, and this is a question for the people in the chat too. Does Teena Marie belong in this group of people? Why or why not? From your perspective.
All right. So before I answer that question,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to redeem myself. So I was thinking, um, thinking about MC Light and not Queen Latifah.
Mm-hmm.
One of MC Light's first appearances was on a Sinead O'Connor remix,
Mm.
and so I was thinking about Sinead O'Connor famously. I don't know if she would make it on this list, but she famously sang a song written by Prince that we all kind of gave her, I guess a 72-hour pass,
Right.
her pass. So, for to come
Yeah.
to the picnic for that one because she held her own on it. And yeah, so that's where I was thinking. That's where my
Mm-hmm.
mind was going with
Yes.
that. So now Teena Marie. I see a lot of people in the chat
Mm-hmm.
saying that she does not belong on this list. Ah, it's so weird. Yeah, because Teena Marie is beloved. Um, okay, there's a lot. Oh, there's a lot of this got getting
This
hot
is
in the
this
chat
is good. This
room.
is this is interesting because I have a nuance, because one of the people that just popped up I do think should be here, but there's a reason. So anyway, this is good. I'm so
Right.
glad we asked this question.
Uh, I don't. I think okay. It's kind of weird for me because I think the fact that Teena Marie was white, um, kind of gave her that little oomph, that extra attention for because she was white, she was petite, and
Mm-hmm.
she was hanging out with Rick James, and she was playing guitar, she was
Mm-hmm.
playing piano, she was hanging with everybody, she was signed to Motown. So I think all of her being white kind of added to her legacy, added to her mystique, and added to the flavor, to the fact that she is getting so much notoriety and has this reputation. So I think she does belong on the list for that reason.
Okay.
Just for that reason. I'm not rebuking or revoking her eternal
Right.
pass
She's
to the cookout.
eternally invited to the cookout.
Her music is eternally at the cookout. There's no getting away from it. Last week I was rocking If I Were a Bell at Rocksteady. So, Teena Marie is definitely an institution in the Black community. She definitely sits at the table. And J Ray, I'm very interested to hear what you have to say, how you answer the question.
So I actually err on the side of no, but I'm okay with keeping her to talking about her because I just want to talk about Teena Marie.
Right.
Kipper made an interesting point that I think deserves some attention. He said, if Teena Marie doesn't, then neither does Bobby Caldwell, right? It's just that Teena was way more popular. And of course, we have I was like, well, we got Bobby Caldwell on the list and we don't have Teena. So my initial knee jerk is like, nah, because Teena was like, I can't even explain. She was as R&B as anybody else, any other Black R&B artist. Like, she never wavered from that. Like, this is who I am and this is what I do. Yes, I'm a little white girl, but I'm going to play this bass and play this guitar and play this piano and give you all this funk, right? This is who I am. And so that is why I was like, nah, I think she transcends. She's one of the few white people that I think transcend into like, nah, we take it. She's ours. Like in Black culture, Teena Marie is ours.
Wait a minute, Jerry. Are you saying that she's transracial? Is that
So maybe Rachel Dolezal was trying to pattern herself as the Teena Marie.
But maybe. No,
listen, Rachel ain't had no guitar and she ain't know how to sing. So
she did not.
Listen, Kipper's like, white folks don't even know her. And I think that's true. Like, I have never heard a white person, except for Lover Girl, I've never heard a white person talk about Teena Marie.
That, what? I never considered that. That is that's a good point, because white people know the Doobie Brothers. They know Michael McDonald.
Yep.
They know Ambrosia. They know those people. Yeah. But Teena Marie, that is a blind spot for them.
And then when you be like, how do you not? And then I'm thinking, like, how do you not know Teena Marie? Because she got so many bops. But they were squarely Black R&B, radio R&B bops.
I think Black radio definitely, and Black DJs definitely have a foot or stake into as to why Teena didn't kind of cross over. I think you're absolutely, that's a good caveat to make regarding Teena Marie. Like I said, she's definitely, the 70s especially were a really good time for funk, R&B, rock and soul, and disco.
Yes.
Because now they're not on our list, but I think we can't not talk about the 70s and not talk about the Bee Gees.
Oh yeah.
The Bee Gees and they're squarely who picked up on, who did the same things that we were talking about earlier. They, as children, they did the covers in Australia of a lot of popular Black music that came over to Australia, and they did the same thing. But then they kind of broke out and took disco to another level.
Yeah.
With their melodies and harmonies and just writing some good ass songs. I mean, the songs are immaculately written.
Absolutely. Okay, so it's so funny. Yes, the Bee Gees, we got a whole bunch of, we're just gonna be talking tonight, y'all, so it's gonna be hilarious. So lean into it. The Bee Gees, I specifically remember as a kid because my father would wear Saturday Night Fever out. And Johnny Ray Cornegay is Philly International, Teddy Pendergrass, the Temptation Soul. My dad be like, bump that, throw that Bee Gees on, yo.
but they I think they took from, that's why your dad was probably attracted to it,
Mm-hmm.
because they were influenced by Philly soul.
Yep.
Disco really came out of Philly.
Yeah,
If we're going to
absolutely.
talk about that, the Philly
Yeah,
soul,
Gamble and
you
Huff.
know,
Listen, we wouldn't
Gamble
have
and Huff,
disco without Gamble and Huff.
precisely. So there's also, okay, another group that wasn't on our list, but when I tell you, if you drop this in any club, at a basketball game, in a bar, if you play Journey's "Don't Stop Believing," black people are going to be singing at the top of their lungs.
That joint is amazing. Okay, so that is squarely one of those songs that, of course, is from the MTV generation.
Mm-hmm.
It is squarely Journey, period. Because there's a couple of joints by Journey. But yeah, Don't Stop Believing is one of those songs. It feels really good. It has a great melody. It also harkens back to stuff that black folks really like melody and all of that stuff. So
Yeah.
it's squarely a pop rock song, but it is a great pop rock song. And the 80s gave us so many of those.
So many of those people. But before we get to the 80s, now you mentioned Bobby Caldwell.
Yep.
Do you recall that episode episode of the BET Awards when they brought out, like, they had a Blue Eye Soul
Yeah.
moment, and they brought out Bobby Caldwell, and Twitter was on fire with people who had no idea. Well, clearly there's a generation that had no idea that Bobby Caldwell was white.
Yeah. I can believe it. I can believe it. It's well, we had this debate year over year for like ever. So many people are dropping Chicago too in the chat. Chicago's another one. We be loving some Chicago shit too. But Kipper and I were recently talking about Bobby's My Flame. You want to talk about a classic? Yes, which one will do for love? Yeah. It's a classic R&B staple. My Flame, though.
Okay, my bad. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Y'all.
That's gonna happen a lot on this episode, because we're just gonna start thinking of see, we haven't talked about Kenny Loggins yet.
We getting there because we got the Doobie Brothers. That's in that whole situation.
That's in that whole situation right there. But if we're gonna talk about Chicago, we gotta talk about Billy Joel.
We have to.
Billy
my
Joel,
God.
Has given the black community a couple bops too.
You know what? So it was funny. I was in a store because Billy Joel plays a lot. Oh, Sailing by Christopher Cross. That's another one, a Johnny Cornegay classic. You want to know when my dad is feeling sentimental, he'll drop Sailing by Christopher Cross. But no, I was in a store really recently. It's probably the market, because I was bopping down the aisles. Uptown Girl was on. And I was singing away. And there was these little black kids that was like looking at me crazy, like, how do you know that song? And I'm like, they didn't say that, but I'm thinking like they probably looking at me like, how does this man know this song? Because that shit was a bop.
We are clearly, like, listeners, I know y'all are clearly Gen Xers, the majority of you. We clearly grew up in that era where we watched MTV, we listened to really non-formatted radio, where we could be bopping to Beat It in 1 second, and then, like J. Ray said, we were listening to Uptown Girl. Uptown Girl, Huey Lewis and the News, all ZZ Top. Any of those people would come on radio or come on the television at any time, and we were very familiar with it, and we rocked to it.
Yeah.
So, and we can't. Oh my God, Fleetwood Mac. Oh gee, the Eagles. I mean, it's just ridiculous amounts of soul that came out in the 70s from these groups, from these rock groups, but that will drop a ballad, especially the ballads.
So in the chat, Carlton put in, and Kipper replied. Carlton put in Gino Vanelli, and then Kipper was like, Gino Vanelli, period. Carlton put in, I Just Want to Stop. So from that album, Carlton, I will tell you, my joint is Brother to Brother. But Gino Vanelli, big 70s hair.
Mm-hmm.
White, just white as he wanna be. And I think his brother was playing drums on Brother to Brother, but that's my joint. Black folks had Gino Vanelli's record. Like they had that joint. Oh my God. People are just in the chat doing the thing. But okay, can we go back to Fleetwood Mac for a second?
Let's talk about Fleetwood Mac, Stevie Nicks, the whole gang.
Um
Mm-mm-mm.
Dreams is one of the most beautiful songs you will ever hear. And I feel like JC played it one night. Actually, we might have been together. I think he had done an event and he might have dropped Dreams into a
Dreams.
set.
Either that,
Beautiful.
I know that I've played Tell Me Lies. Tell Me Lies is
Tell
my
me sweet
joint.
little lies.
Tell Me Lies, of course,
Tell
we,
me
you know,
lies.
everybody loves Stevie Nicks' 17
Mm-hmm.
and all the
Rhiannon.
and so listen, so Stevie Nicks inspired not only a huge record, one of Destiny's Child's biggest records, but also was responsible for a slang term being put into the dictionary. Bootylicious is a real term, in the dictionary, and that's partially and Stevie Nicks is partially responsible for that because of her record 17. So, but now you brought up JC, DJ JC.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot talk about, so we're talking about our DJ friends.
Mm-hmm.
One Lisa Peppermint Gaddy.
What's up, Peppermint
When I
Caddy?
when I tell you she is the biggest Hall and Oates fan. If any of us drop I Can't Go For That, oh, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. First of all, the bass line is crazy. I think that's what you hook black people into. If you give a crazy enough bass line,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the through line with I Can't Go For That,
Yep.
or Queen's another one, Bites the
The
Dust,
dust. Mm-hmm.
Let's Dance. All the bass lines are crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk about their associations
Yeah.
that add on to the, so we get to that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, you cannot talk about Blue Eyed Soul and not talk about Hall and Oates, who literally stunted on every single record. There's not a record by them that I can't. They inspired Method Man from the Wu-Tang Clan. They inspired his name. He got his name from Method of Modern Love.
Yeah.
And he called himself Method, METHOD.
HOD. Yeah.
That comes from Method of Modern Love.
Yeah.
And oh my God, what else did they say? She's a
Man eater.
She's a rich girl. No, she's a rich girl. She's
rich
a rich
girl. Sarah Smile in the 70s. So here's the thing about Hall and Oates. They're also a really interesting case because, especially in the early 80s. So let's go back to I Can't Go For That, because what we also learned from Quincy Jones is that inspired Billie Jean. The idea for that song with Michael came from him hearing the I Can't Go For That. So if you listen to I Can't Go For That at Billie Jean, he was like, oh no, you can hear the similarities, because that's where he got that idea from. Wow. So they got Nancy Wilson and Hart in there. It's a lot going on. And thank y'all for doing this. I'm so glad we're having this fun conversation. But Hall and Oates, Out of Touch. There were so many joints. Out of touch. I'm out of listen, but I'm out of my head when you're not a. Listen, y'all. These folks, right? You could hear what was dope was all of the groups that we've been talking about were. Right, Nancy Wilson, right, and that's hilarious. But all the people that we've been talking about were ultimately doing their own pop stuff, but you can hear the influences. Say No Go, yeah. That as that sample, so many things, right? So, saying all that to say, you have even interesting. You have David Bowie, right? So you mentioned Let's Dance. But even in the 70s, where of course you have the thin white Duke David, who's doing all the cocaine in the world, but hires like
Mm.
Luther Vandross to go to sing
To do
background and doing
background,
Fame and all
Young
of this stuff.
Americans.
Young Americans, who literally leans in to doing this music in the style of Philly soul, right? So, but then of course in the 80s, I know you wanted to mention these associations because this is really important.
Right.
You now have all these disco producers who had number ones everywhere. But then after the disco sucks movement, which is some racist, homophobic bullshit, we talked about that on our show last year. We'll put the link in the chat. You have all of these producers that now go on to the 80s and start to produce on all of these other artists. So then you have your Nile Rodgers and your
Rogers,
Bernard Edwards producing for David Bowie now.
and this young lady, what was her name?
I wonder what her name was. I think she's going on tour
This
again this
starts with a
year.
this her name starts with an M.
Right? Is it Madge?
Madonna.
Right? Madonna.
I think it's Madonna. Yeah. No, like seriously, Madonna. I mean, we can't. You can do a whole show on Madonna alone.
Mm-hmm.
There's just, for better or for worse, love or hate her, Madonna is this omnipresent force in music that has been around for over 40 years, for
Mm-hmm.
damn near 50 years. And her early success is definitely due to, like you said, to producers like Jelly Bean,
Mm-hmm.
who came out of the Latin quarters and
Mm-hmm.
the dance hits. Nile Rodgers
Mm-hmm.
definitely gave her a lot of hits on the
Mm-hmm.
Like a Virgin album. And so, if you want to talk about why those songs appeal to us, it was that driving bass line,
Mm-hmm.
that disco, that 4/4 sensibility, that foot stomp. That, yeah, there's definitely some slapping. Now, I do recall that conversation. A lot of the conversation about was people didn't know if Madonna was black or white back
I
in the
remember
day
that. I remember that.
before the videos came out, and which I think is kind of wild because she definitely doesn't sound black, but because of the music, because of the type of music she was singing, the type of and the DJs that were promoting it, that were spinning it, people automatically thought, well, this must be a black artist, and the label kind of ran with it.
Yeah, because it was easy. I mean, it's the same thing that Motown did with Teena Marie at first, right? They didn't put her picture on the cover of that record. They was like, we gonna let them think she a black girl. It's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, like, they didn't know what Tina. And back then, we ain't had no social media. We didn't know what people looked like until they showed up. That's why I'm sure so many people didn't know what Bobby Caldwell looked like, right? Because I don't think
they
his album
absolutely.
had him on it either. Um, so this is a whole section, but the British acts,
Whew.
because one of the things to keep in mind, so in the 80s, when MTV came on, they needed videos to play.
Mm-hmm.
So many of those videos that they ended up playing were actually coming from British acts because they were a lot of British acts that had videos. There was a whole cluster of white acts that came out of Great Britain that wore us thin.
The British invasion, it's like every generation had their own British invasion, and we for certain got invaded by Culture Club
Yep.
and Boy George, because when I tell you Time,
Oh.
that song, that's the blackest R&B song I have ever heard. If and it still holds up. I could put it in a set and
Mhm.
people will jam and groove to it and just have an awesome time. Again, they got records from us and were doing what they could to sound like these records and just putting their stamp on it. But it really resonated with us, and we gave them their credibility and their stamp, even though there was kind of that weird thing of like when we saw Boy George, we were like, What is that, a man or is that a
Oh,
woman? There was all of that.
I remember so much, which is crazy to think now, right? But our conversations, I'm glad we have evolved to the point where our conversations around
Mhm.
gender and gender presentation have evolved. But it seems weird to me today, but in 1982 and 83, this was a very real conversation.
Very real. I remember. Do you remember Arsenio kind of, Arsenio kind of like trying to figure out was Boy George a boy or a girl on when he was on Solid Gold, or what was the other? There was another show that Arsenio was hosting, and Culture Club was on it. So yeah,
Mhm.
it was definitely a great time. Now, Wham is not from England;
Woo!
they're from Australia, but Australia gave us George Michael. George Michael, who I think the black community embraced him like
Oh
from the
no,
very
they from
beginning.
England. They real English. George
I thought they
Michael,
were from Australia.
no, George Michael is definitely English. No, yes, no. He was part of that whole invasion. Yeah, George is definitely from like outside of. Okay, I looked this up. He's from East Finchley, London, is where George
Huh.
is from.
Okay.
And listen,
I
George
really thought he
Michael
was from
was
there.
doing the good singing.
Is absolutely best.
But the magic of George Michael as well, and we can talk about this now, is he understood how to write a song. Like he knew that mofo knew how to write him a song
That
because
father
uh
figure.
father figure,
I'm never
everything
gonna
she
dance.
wants,
I'm never gonna fall in love again. Guilty
careless
feet. Oh,
whisper,
Careless Whispers. Oh my god.
careless whisper is a beautiful song.
Listen, y'all are not gonna wear me out about thinking he was from Australia. My
Shout out
bad,
to
y'all.
Brock Cherry, by the way. Thank you for hanging in with
My bad, y'all. I thought he
us.
was from Australia. I know Kylie Minogue is from Australia. I honestly thought he was from Australia. But
No, he
anyway,
from yeah, that
so we
crop.
so of course that whole crop Tears for Fears,
Mm-hmm.
because we love everybody wants to rule the world. We love
Mm-hmm.
that. Now the pop side was jamming too because we got Bananarama,
Cruel Summer.
who Cruise Summer rocks.
Kids.
There's no getting
Cruel
around that.
Summer. You drop that right now. You will dance to it. I need to hear that in a summertime set.
Yep.
Oh my
Yep.
God. All day.
Oh my god, Contra Kugu. Oh my goodness. There's a
Simply
whole bunch of
Red. Oh my God.
Simply Red. We can't listen.
Holding back the
The
years.
Brits really had a chokehold on a black community
They
in a
did.
good way, in a really good way with their version of soul.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, you know what? We can't even if we're in the 80s now, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can't not talk about my girl, Miss Sugar Walls herself.
Give it to Sheena. Let her listen. Sheena Easton deserves all of it.
And it was like you give Shane. So Sheena Easton is interesting because Sheena definitely gave us a pop and soul moment when she first came out. You
Mm-hmm.
know, My Baby Takes the
Takes
Morning
the
Train
morning. Right.
is definitely pop, right?
Right.
But then when we get to, Sugar Walls and Strut,
Mm-hmm.
she started using a little bit more spritz in her hair and, making
You
it
got
bigger.
Prince coming to write a song.
Right. So, so the hair gets a little, takes a little more form and exactly. She's getting into her R&B era. And then when she kind of leaves the 80s, well, the early 80s and reemerges in the late 80s, she emerges in a full R&B, like
Right.
extensions, doing Bally's commercials, doing the WAP, and she's doing songs with Jimmy
LA and
Jam and Terry,
Babyface.
LA and Babyface. She still does stuff with Prince. So Sheena Easton is definitely one of those artists that she ran the whole gamut. Like
She did.
she came in and did what she needed to do, and and gave us all the black experience that we wanted. Sheena Easton, and then so we talk about who Sheena Easton aligned herself with: LA and Babyface, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, Prince. Samantha Fox came out swinging with
Full
Full
Force.
Force, Full Force, and
Samantha Fox.
Samantha Fox. You know, that was truly a moment of. So she came in with a hybrid of club and club R&B, and gave us those moments. She gave us a couple ballads as well. And I don't think people sing her praises enough. Well, I'd say this: if you're outside of New York, because New York, LA, and Miami, Florida have a huge freestyle following, freestyle music, and so Samantha Fox was definitely at the height of her superpowers during the whole freestyle music movement. So but she was definitely white. She's definitely from England. But she had Full Force behind her with the writing, with the production. So Full Force literally offered her up to the hood and was like, "Here y'all go," and we ate it up.
Naughty Girls was a dope joint, you know.
Listen, the baby don't let me
be misunderstood. Listen. So thank y'all so much for dropping the funny thing names. That I know, right? It's so funny that people put new shoes. Brock put new shoes in the chat because the album that I am going to talk to you about in our next segment includes a remake of that album, of that song. Right? Really quickly, we talked about this artist. So this is one of them songs that Black folks still go up for. It was her one hit down here. She's Canadian, but this was her one shot. But that's that Jane Child, Don't Wanna Fall in Love. Black folks can't get enough of that joint, and we understand why.
It's a New Jack Swing classic. Teddy put his good New Jack Swing stank on that remix. And then when we got the video, we was like, oh, she got the long braids, the spikes on top.
Baby, that would not fly today. They'd be like, girl.
It was a whole lot going on. It was like, and then the nose ring, and she played a mean bass guitar. So Jane Child was definitely doing all the things, but she was checking off the boxes with that Teddy Riley remix of Don't Wanna Fall in Love. That 12-inch, it still goes. I play it to this day. And yeah, Teddy Riley did the remix of Don't Wanna Fall in Love, and that's what makes it a New Jack Swing classic.
Yep.
And so we kind of jumped into New Jack Swing, but another freestyle goddess is Miss Taylor Dayne. Tell it to my heart.
Listen.
Tell me I'm the only one.
Is it really love or just a game? Black folks love that shit.
We love it. And the very first time I saw Taylor Dayne was during her appearance on the Apollo, Showtime at the Apollo. A lot of black artists got broken. I mean, a lot of white artists got broken on Showtime at the Apollo, like Taylor Dayne, like Jane Child, like Expose. I go up for Expose. I go
Come
out
go
to this
with
day,
me. Oh, have no fear. Oh, that joint.
and they tore it up on the Apollo. They did the thing. The audience was loving them. That one famous lady with the jerry curl sitting in the front, she was going in. So she had.
It was a thing.
So as long as it was a thing, they had a cosign if she was going in for the music. So we really had like the best time. Gen Xers, we just had the best music. Hands down, it's documented. We got so many hits and so much music out of that era. Yes, Company B. Is Company B white or were they Latina? I know Sweet Sensation. I know those girls coming out of that era. Sweet Obsession. They're definitely from the Latinx side of things.
Yeah, Expose is definitely Latina, and it looks like Company B are Cuban American.
Cuban. So yeah. So, but I can kind of see unfortunately, we kind of throw them all together because that's how it was just marketed. It just felt like they were white, but they're not. They were Latina. Oh, you know what? Quiet as kept. There is you know who the pioneer is
The-
for a lot of the pop girls, the white pop princesses, and she does not get enough props. Well, there's two of them. The girls that set the malls on fire. Tiffany and Deborah
and
Gibson.
Deborah, listen, we knew those songs.
We knew them. There were Taylor Swift who? There would be no Taylor Swift without Deborah Gibson is the
Was writing
blueprint
and
for a Taylor
producing
Swift.
all of those hits. So Deborah Gibson don't have to work today. Like,
Right? She does not. She absolutely does not. But yeah, that whole they were a thing, especially Tiffany.
mm-hmm.
Tiffany and that was like brilliant marketing,
Yes.
pinpointing the malls and having her do all these mall performances because that's exactly that's where she came out of, was from
Yep.
the mall. Malls were such an important, listeners that aren't from Generation X, malls are such an important part of our growing up because we were left a lot to our own devices in Generation
We
X.
were.
We were latchkey kids. We were able to play outside until the street lights came on. And malls were definitely someplace that we went to congregate. It was safe. It was quote unquote safe. It was indoors.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a great place for all of us to meet and to hang out until the street lights came on. But absolutely, Tiffany and Deborah Gibson definitely needed to be put into this mix. We can't talk about, and I have to mention this group also, because in the early 2000s, we see a resurgence of what these aforementioned groups laid down. But we got to talk about New Kids on the Block.
Oh yeah.
We got to talk
We
about them.
all they were patterned. I remember when they first hit the scene, and because they were using the New Edition
New
formula to
Edition
kind of
Mark.
promote them.
Well, they were also brought to us
Yeah.
by Maurice
Maurice
Starr,
Starr,
who
right.
found New Edition.
New Edition,
So.
yeah. So they were using that same formula, and to this day, I know so many black women who still go and see New Kids on the Block shows. Like they were
Absolutely.
New Kids on the Block stands as young black girls, and now as older black women, they're like, I'm going to see New Kids on the Block, and I live for it.
Because when they hear "Please Don't Go, Girl," they thought that they thought those were black boys singing, especially the because what's his name, the youngest one,
This is Joey.
His voice was super high, so he was giving you the same kind of falsetto that Ralph Tresvant was doing on "Is This the End." Very similar songs, although "Please Don't Go, Girl" has that 808 kick to it, so you know it was banging in the hood because we love an 808. But yeah, they kind of closed out the 80s with their pop R&B hybrids. Then you had your Rick Astley's, you had your who else kind of made themselves,
well, the Jets got mentioned in the chat. I was a huge Jets fan.
Still am a huge Jets fan. Don't know that they're. I could not if they're part of the cookout as far as I'm
they
concerned.
could come to the cookout. They be
because they're Philippine. They're Filipino,
so they could come. Rock It To You still goes. I haven't heard that in a set. I don't think
Crush
ever.
On You.
Crush On You. So Sir Daniel, we gotta we'll figure out. Maybe we gotta see what's up with these with a set to get some of these joints in there. Oh, okay. So we definitely want to get to the 2000s. So we want to spend a little bit of time there. But before we do anything, y'all, there is a song that we have not mentioned that is probably the quintessential white song that black folks love, and y'all probably already know what it is. But Lisa Stansfield
absolutely kills her Apollo debut. There's that video clip lives on forever on Twitter. The same conversation about people performers that we didn't know were black. obviously, the generation, they keep rediscovering stuff. So we're just going to
Yes.
have to get used to it and get used to that. They keep rediscovering things. But that clip of her performing at the Apollo, she had a little spit
The little
curl in the
swoop and
front,
the
the little swoop. She was dressed in all black. She gave him a two-step, but she was singing her face off. And then not only did she give us that single, um, she was also part of the British invasion.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I think she comes out of that directly inspired by that soul to soul movement.
Absolutely.
And so yeah, the
Right.
Go Lisa is definitely an Apollo moment. So she went on to remake songs from Barry White. So
Great
she just
career.
recently had a great career. Recently just had a birthday. Lisa Stansfield, been around the world and I. It has been referenced in so many rap songs.
Mm-hmm.
Has anybody sampled it? I don't
I don't
think
know
they've
if anyone
actually.
has anyone remade that song. I would be surprised. I think it's probably a hard song to remake too, because
I
it's
would think
such
so
a
too.
iconic song.
I know that when Diddy and them did been
Oh, they
around the
did
world,
use it. Yeah, they
they
did the
did an
interpolation.
interpolation
Mm-hmm.
of it, but not a sample.
Yeah,
So yes, absolutely, Lisa Fisher is just one of
Lisa
those
Stansfield.
hallmark
Yeah,
Lisa
we love Lisa
Lisa.
Fisher though,
We
but
love
she
Lisa
black.
Fisher also. Very black and very much can sing, still sings down to this day.
Down.
But Lisa Stansfield is definitely a moment for
Oh,
white soul.
can I
Guys, go
mention?
ahead.
Okay, this is I added this to the list because, but I think a lot of black people share this. "Smells Like Teen Spirit" by Nirvana is black folks love that song. It's a great song.
Absolutely go in for it. I That was definitely, again, we were MTV kids. This is around the same time that MTV dropped The Real World, which was
Yep.
the very first reality show. And so they captured a moment. It was definitely lightning in a bottle for them
Mm-hmm.
of teen angst, but then that guitar
Mm-hmm.
riff. And we most recently found out that Dave Grohl, the drummer, was heavily influenced by the Gap Band. So
Mm-hmm.
now it's like,
Exactly.
it makes all sense. He told Pharrell, he was like, he was like, I listened to nothing but Gap Band, and I
Yeah.
was trying to do my darndest to do a Gap Band impersonation with those drums.
Mm-hmm.
So it absolutely makes sense why we why we loved Nirvana. And there were other songs other than Teen Spirit by Nirvana that I grew
Yeah.
to love as well, just because we were introduced to them, and they were just part of our culture.
Yep.
And then when we lost
Yeah. Kurt Cobain.
Kurt
I remember
Cobain
that.
like
I
that,
was at work. That was a big day. That was a
a very
crazy
big day.
day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
And like Brock is saying, people like Layla Hathaway have covered
Mm-hmm.
Teen Spirit. A lot of DJs, a lot of black DJs like to throw Teen Spirit into their sets as well, because we know it's going to get people jumping.
Yeah. There are, so we do want to talk about this because in the 90s, that bleeds into the 2000s. I see that Carlton mentioned NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys. So I remember the first time I heard um the first like couple Backstreet Boys songs, and I was like, "Oh my god, yeah, these are for me. These are for us," right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they were well crafted pop R&B songs. And so these groups, these boy bands, the NSYNCs, the Backstreets, all had songs that we still sing. Like we'll sing "I Want It That Way" at the drop of a hat. I love that
Oh
song.
man, to the top of our lungs. But let's be clear. Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, Christina Aguilera,
Mm-hmm.
Pink, Britney Jean Spears, even Jessica Simpson.
Yep.
That whole class of 1998 to 2003, that whole class of kids had Full Force,
Yep.
writing and producing for
That's
them.
what Kipper was saying. Like we were writing those songs.
Listen, we were writing those songs. We had LA and Babyface.
Mm-hmm.
Pink was signed to a black ass label. She was on LaFace
Mm-hmm.
first. And to this day, y'all are still saying how much you miss Blackpink and how in her There You Go era when
There you go.
Candy Burst was
Looking
writing for her.
pitiful. Right.
When Candy Burst was writing for her, Candy was writing for all of those girls. Even Mandy Moore. All of those kids got their stank, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
from black production, black
Yeah.
musicianship. We talked about Slave for You last week on our Pharrell show.
Yeah.
All of them got a moment from Pharrell too, if you think about it. Gwen Stefani.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Can we talk about No Doubt real quick and
We
how much
should. Oh yeah. We loved
No
No Doubt.
No Doubt had a choke on, had a grasp on us too, especially Don't Speak.
Yes. Oh my God.
Have you noticed it's typically the ballads that really get to the black audiences that
Yes.
hook us in. It's
Yeah.
the ballads and the the ballads from those kind of bands. It's the ska influence if we're gonna keep it a bean.
Yep.
No Doubt definitely came from that school of Bad Brains and all of those people that we like to talk about and pay homage to. So yeah, there's a reason why we absolutely are drawn to these bands, and they find their way into our collective conscious as a community.
Really quick. Okay, so one of my absolutely favorites. This is a 1998. One of my favorite songs from that era. She's from Atlanta. Jennifer Page's Crush brings me.
It's just a little crush.
That song is one of the most beautiful songs. And so I didn't know that it wasn't just me. I was like, maybe I'm one of the few black people. But then I was around, but I put it up one day and then people was like, oh, that's my jam. Like that right there.
That's our joint. That goes, okay, so there's like a list of songs like Crush that go into a little pot of songs that we think that we don't know, that we think other black people don't know. The reason why we're doing this show is because I was telling J. Ray about an afternoon I was out with Peppermint Gaddy and Bruce Phillips, and the sound, the playlist shuffled Natalie Imbruglia's Torn. And when I tell you all the black people were singing that song to the top of their lungs, I was like, we really go in for Natalie Imbruglia.
Torn is a great song.
And we cannot let that junk go. We love some Torn. We love Natasha Bedingfield's Unwritten.
These are great tunes. So
absolutely great tunes.
Y'all. And I love that Carlton mentioned Samantha Moon, but she is black, but she comes from that same era as Jennifer Page. And I need to play me some Samantha Moon, but I think she married somebody real rich now, so she's good. But y'all, this is like, y'all have gotten songs. So I think we need to do a playlist now, Sir Daniel, including all the stuff that folks have mentioned, because we got over 100 pings on our list.
Absolutely.
And then we need to make a list.
There definitely needs to be a list of these songs that non-black people have contributed to the melting pot that is the music industry. And then, like Brock is saying, there's a new batch of soul singers like your Dailies, like you. Oh, I'm going to give you a name right now that's going to blow your mind. And you're going to be like, oh, what happened to him? Remy Shand.
What? Okay. It's interesting.
Exactly the look I was looking for.
So I had feelings about Remy Shand. I know that Remy Shand was still making music. My feelings about him were so conflicted when he first came out. It was such an interesting time in that quote unquote neo soul moments. But yeah, let's look into, because everybody's now with the thing. Let's look into what happened to Remy
To
Shan.
Remy
What is
Shan.
he doing? I know he was on Bandcamp. See if Remy got some new stuff that he rocking and what his energy is giving. Um,
But like Carlton put in the chat, Robin Thicke kind of took that Remy Shan thunder,
he did.
because now it was all about Robin Thicke for a hot second, and
Yeah.
Jamiroquai.
Baby, Jamiroquai. I think Jamiroquai can come to the cookout though. So Jamiroquai was bathed in the funk of
Lots of
like
funk.
he was giving you a funk and a disco like nobody's business. Like Jamiroquai stuck to that formula by hook or crook. Is like, nope, I do this. So get into it.
Absolutely. And somebody mentioned, oh, my heart. Amy Winehouse was such a
Oh,
moment. Like Salam Remy, you could tell put so much love and hard work into Amy Winehouse's projects that to this day, if I see that documentary, I get choked up because she was so good. Like, damn, it was like, damn, Amy, and in her the short amount of time that we had her impact was so heavy in the community because she worked with Remy. I mean, she worked with
Salam.
Salam Remy, and she's singing over a Nas track.
Exactly. On
Who
your
does
first
that?
record. Who does
On your
that?
first
Right.
record, who does that? And then, of course, she was rumored to have been, dating Nas, messing around with him. And that Back to Black album is solidified as just a steeped in, because I know Mark Ronson was part of that mix too, but Mark Ronson gets all of his,
He
let's
gets
be
all
real,
the
Mark
credit.
Ronson gets all of his influences from black music as well. So, but Salam Remy and Mark Ronson and that whole team that worked on that album really
The
gave
Dap
us
Kings, yeah.
the Dat Kings really gave us a look into that, really revived UK soul, if you would. Even though she got a lot of her influences from the Dat Sharon Jones and the Dat Kings,
Oh,
Amy
rest in
still
peace, Sharon Jones.
Amy still held her own
Yeah.
in that, and she was definitely invited to the cookout.
Yeah. Oh, Amy Winehouse. Yeah. So there are from back in the early 2000s, there's was a lot of conversations because I was back in my OK Player boards days, and we were
Mm-hmm.
having a lot of conversations when that Frank album came out, not knowing that Back to Black was going to be like what the like it was
A
next
monster,
level.
a
Um,
monster.
but you know what? Listen, she in the short time that she did it, what 6 7 years, in the 6 or 7 years
Mm-hmm.
that she did it, we got two certified classics. Um,
Absolutely. It's so
y'all.
funny. I know, right? It's so funny. Now, I'm just gonna be transparent with y'all.
Mhm,
There was when Amy Winehouse came. It was like Amy kind of started another revolution of the UK, the white UK soul singers,
mhm.
because we got, I can't, was it not Duffy? Was it Duffy?
Duffy did come out. I
Yeah,
think she came around that time.
yeah,
Hmm.
Duffy. And then, okay, I'm sorry, y'all. I just did not get Joss Stone. Joss Stone just did nothing for me, and she had Raphael Sadiq behind her, which is huge, but the songs just weren't giving the give to me. Her voice didn't do nothing for me, but I know a lot of y'all live for a good old Joss Stone record.
Yeah, so I liked introducing Joss Stone better than, oh no, the Soul Sessions is what I liked. The Soul
Mm-hmm.
Sessions was kind of like her EP, and she was
Mm-hmm.
doing some covers and stuff like that. So I enjoyed that. I didn't too much get in for the stuff after that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but and this is an artist. Okay, y'all going I might get dinged for this. This is an artist that I should probably know more about, that the kids go up for. I don't know nothing about JoJo, but the kids love
They
JoJo.
love a JoJo moment. They love a JoJo moment. She's definitely part of that 08, 07,
Mm-hmm.
08 moment. Where she was she dropped some R&B classics. I became cognizant of JoJo when she did a cover of Drake's what is the name of that song? Somebody's room. I forget the
Mm-hmm.
name of the song, but she did a cover of it. And if y'all could help me out what that JoJo song that she covered by Drake was, I would greatly appreciate it. But she definitely, they love a JoJo. They absolutely love a JoJo. And Marvin's Room,
Marvin's
thank
Room.
you. She did a cover of that. Um, what do y'all? There's also another UK soul singer that came out.
Who?
She kind of had a few hits. She starts with an A. Ad- Adele? Yeah, Adele.
Is that her name? Adele. We
Adele.
love Adele. We love it.
You know, we look okay.
I
It's
love
funny how
19. I love 19 and 21 Adele.
I was just about to say, I think when we first get them and we kind of put them on, that's when we kind of like, oh yeah, we're into it. We love the music. But then I don't know, it kind of loses its stink along the way as she got older. But that 19 album, that Chasing Pavements, I wore
Chasing
that song
Pavements.
out.
Chasing
I wore it out.
Pavements. Crazy. All of 21 is just one of my favorite things. Like, I love that second album. I haven't listened to the last two. I think I put that on Twitter. I'm like, don't ask me what's on them last two records. I just don't know. I know
Yeah.
Hello. That's on one of them. I like Hello.
You know, we like Adele. Adele,
Yeah.
is coming to the picnic, the barbecue, and apparently she's coming to the bashment. She's coming to carnival, all of that, because she's not
Yes.
married into it, but
She's on her way.
she's marrying her way into the community. But but I dig her. I dig her as a person. I dig the music. It doesn't have that stink like it had when it
It
first
don't
came out.
it don't have that stank. So I
Yeah.
definitely agree. Um thank y'all so much for doing this with us. So we got to do something really special before we close out. So Sir
Okay.
Daniel, so one of the things Sir Daniel and I talked about, right, was can we pick an album for the other
Mm-hmm.
person that they would take to a desert island? Now, it doesn't have to be the only album you take to the desert island, but
Right.
I we are going to pick albums for each other that we think the other should take. So this week, I am
Mm-hmm.
giving Sir Daniel his album. He is going to check it out, and then next week, Sir Daniel's going to give me mine. Yep, Jesse J is another one.
It's too much
So,
yodeling for me. But anyway.
so Sir Daniel, so your
Mm-hmm.
album that I am picking that I think that you should take to the desert island.
Okay.
Here were my criteria. So I had criteria. So I'm like, does it have different styles?
Mm-hmm.
Does it mix genres?
Okay.
And does it have enough variety? Like, does it, like, because you're a DJ, right? So I'm like, you might have a different feel. You might want a different feel for a different day. So I wanted to try and pick an album that could like fit into those buckets. So the album
Okay.
that I picked is King Britt presents Silk 130, and the album is called Remembers Only. Now, I'm gonna have to send you this record because it's been out of print for
I was gonna
20
say I've heard that.
years.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's been out of print for a long time. But King Britt is from
Okay.
Philly. Shout out to King Britt. This record is a very Philly record. So let me tell you a little bit about it. So the reason why I picked
Mm-hmm.
this record is because you got a little bit of everything on here. So you got some pop. So Alison Moyet, who was part of that early 80s Great Britain crop of singers, is on this record. So she's on there singing a ballad. You have Kathy Sledge, who's fallen through to do a freestyle joint on this. You have Philly's own Alma Horton, who is doing a song called Happiness. She's doing like a dance joint. There's a remix of I Can't Wait by New Shoes. The artist who's doing it is called Twyla. That's on here. And also De La Soul is also on this record. So there's a
Okay.
lot of different styles on this record, but the the theme was like a 1980s radio station where you could hear all these different things in one. So as you listen to this, you should think about it in that way where it's like, okay, this is a radio station that's kind of taking me through the gamut of styles. So
Got it.
that is the record I picked for you. Last Night a DJ
Okay.
Saved My Life, Carlton. Yes, Carlton be knowing. Last Night a DJ Saved My Life is also on here, a remake of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay.
so yeah, so
I'm interested. I'm piqued. My curiosity is piqued.
so that is the record. So I'm gonna send that to you, and let us know next week what you think. If you would take this record, and it's okay that you don't, but I'm curious. I think you
Okay.
might take it.
All right. All right. So listen. So come back next week so you'll hear my honest opinion about this record because J Ray knows I don't I don't like everything.
Right.
I'm like Morris the cat. I'm very finicky. And that's really a Gen X reference.
Yeah.
Morris the cat. Yeah. You're definitely your knees hurt when it rains outside and you
Right.
have to take naps before you if you know who Morris the cat is, you definitely need to take naps before you go out on the
Right.
weekend and your knees are hurting right now. But yeah, this has been one of those shows where I think it's like quintessential cue points
Mm-hmm.
because at the basis of this show is that you and I just like talking about music and talking about these different eras and talking about the things that just popped out to us, and this is definitely no different. I do have one question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it so we all the music that we've gone through has basically been soul, dance, R&B,
Mm-hmm.
funk and roll kind of music, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to white rappers, we are not as welcoming or endearing to the music. Like we really now there are white rappers who are down by law, who definitely, like your MC Searches,
Mm-hmm.
that have proven, that they're
Mm-hmm.
part of the community and whatnot. And they are hip hop. But as far as the music is concerned, we don't like if we play Ice Ice Baby, it's a joke.
Right.
It's out of like a ha ha ha. Or if we're playing Informer by Snow,
Mm-hmm.
again, it's a novelty. Why don't you think? What is it about those hip hop contributions? Because we still talking about this is 50 for hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
What is it about those hip hop contributions that just don't it don't slap like say Hall and Oates
Mm-hmm.
contributions or even a Wham's contributions?
Um, one, actually, I think there are contributions that do. Like, I'm thinking specifically, there are so many joints by the Beastie Boys that I think easily could be on here, right?
Okay.
So many joints. Like there was there's a bunch of them. So I think Third Base also could have easily had joints. One of the songs, and the only reason I didn't mention the song because I didn't think people would remember it, but we're talking to all Gen Xers, so you actually probably would.
Mm-hmm.
Tap the Bottle by the Young Black Teenagers is a bop. Produced by Terminator X. Like that name wouldn't fly today. Like none of that would fly.
So I actively for those of you who are listening, I just rolled my eyes so hard at J Ray. That was one of those because they had fake dreads and everything, and
it was a lot.
just like J Ray said, it was a lot and would not fly today. But beat wise, yes, I can understand. I understand why that would be thrown in the mix, but it just wouldn't. Like, okay, House of Pain.
Oh yeah, Jump Around.
I think that would fly only because of its huge. They don't need us. They don't need black people's sauce for that song.
No. And I mean, Everlasting them was like really like they were doing. There are some groups, Third Base, Beastie Boys, House of Pain. I actually think those groups stand on their own. Notice how we're
Okay.
not talking about Eminem. I think that's really funny. But
Hmm.
but
And
go ahead.
here's my contention. My contention about Eminem has always been, I felt like y'all gave him a lot. And when I say y'all were really like gassing him a lot, yes, he can rhyme, yes,
Mm-hmm.
he can flow, but Eminem has never given me something that I can play at said barbecue, at
No.
said cookout. Nothing that I think will get people to dancing, nothing that really, I don't know, just doesn't really contribute to the canon of feel good hip hop music. Now, there
Yes.
are those who absolutely love him because of his storytelling and the beats he got from Dre. He still does not get a pass from me from that rhyme about D Barnes. That
Yeah.
still doesn't fly with me. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say about Eminem. I know that's y'all's favorite, but I think y'all are gassing it a little bit
Yeah,
for me.
there's only actually one Eminem joint that I let slide. And it is called, it's off of Sound Bombing 2. But of course he's doing that Eminem thing where it's too much. Like it's like this is too much, but it's a
Yeah,
joint called Any Man, which I kind of dig that joint. But he's also doing too much. You know what, Brock Cherry, you mentioned Mac Miller. I need to know more about Mac Miller. Like Mac Miller is one of those artists because he came along in the 2010s. I'm older. It just kind of
he's
passed
definitely
me by.
yeah. This generation loves him. They
Yeah,
absolutely love them a Mac Miller, and sadly he passed away um, early. But yeah,
yeah,
that he's definitely one we have to look into. We know that you love it. As far as this generation, we're trying to understand. So
yeah,
Uncle J Ray and Uncle Sir Daniel are trying to look into some Mac Miller. If y'all have like any kinds of
yeah. Where should we
any
start?
songs in particular, yeah,
Yeah.
that you want us to, that you think we should listen to and should check out, certainly pass them our way. But there was Mac Miller. What's the other Macklemore, the one that won the
Not
Grammy that
Macklemore. We
year?
are not playing. We are not. You know what I love about Macklemore though, and I think Carlton. I think you inboxed me this too. Um, what I like about Macklemore is I feel like he's self-aware. Like he knows his privilege.
The interview with Talib.
The interview was silly. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
he
yeah, yeah,
sent. He sent that to both of us. Yes, you're
yeah,
right.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
absolutely
Like
right.
he totally gets. Like, listen,
He's,
I don't think
he's
he's
like,
not talented. Like, I'm like, oh, you
right.
got talent. I just don't care about the music that you're making. But
Yeah, but he said he's like, I know I'm a guest here. He said I know that. So, and he's self aware of that. So we appreciate that
yes,
for sure.
this has been thank y'all so much for hanging out with us for like a longer Q points. This has been super fun. So we're gonna take the list of songs that y'all put and we're gonna come up with a playlist. If there are more, if somebody wants to help us pull together the playlist, inbox your boys. Because we could use the support. That would be super helpful.
Look, we know who is gonna is gonna help us out.
Mm-hmm.
We know who's gonna help us out. We know Carlton is gonna have
Yeah.
a whole what do you call it in college where they give you additional information? What is it called?
What?
Not a syllabus, but it's in addition to the syllabus. What is it called?
In addition to the syllabus,
The,
I don't know if it's called additional reading. I don't know what I would call that. I don't remember. I've been out of college so long, child. I don't.
you and me both. It's been so long.
Extra credit. Is that
It's not
classic?
extra credit, but it's definitely some additional information, additional readings,
Supplemental material.
supplemental material. That's it. Supplemental stuff. He's definitely giving us supplemental material for each and every show, and we love Carlton for it, and we love you guys for sticking with us throughout this show, just listening to us yak away about our favorite songs and adding to the mix as well. J. Ray, how do people stay in touch with us?
Listen, so y'all, you are here, and if you're like, oh my God, I love Q Points, share the show with friends. Like I said at the beginning, it's absolutely free. Subscribe, share with your friends. If they love music too, tell them to listen to Q Points. It really does help us to continue to spread the word. We're taking this thing to the top as far as we can take it. So we need y'all support in doing that. If you want to support even more, you can become a Q Points Insider. If you visit the website at qpoints.com, click on the subscribe button, you can become an insider and watch the Q Points archive, catch up on all the stuff that's behind the wall, including However Comma. We are going to be updating the However Commas to get the archive updated. But However Comma is happening on Mondays on Instagram. So if you are like, I want some more Q Points, come and hang out with us on Instagram on Mondays. It's a hoot. And
it's a hoot, for sure.
We're having a good time. And make sure that you go ahead and follow us on all your social medias too. That's really dope.
That's really dope. And that's really it. So J. Ray, what do I say every week in this life? You have a choice. You can either pick up the needle or you can let the record play. I am DJ Sir Daniel.
And my name is J. Ray, y'all. Peace.
Peace. We will see you on the next go round. And while we're waiting for the outro to play, J. Ray, we did not talk about Rod Temperton.